10th ranked UCLA fends off USC for its 11th consecutive win. Sasha Kleshin, who played for two LA teams in MLS, has announced his retirement, and Derwin James tells the press he's not a dirty player, which makes you wonder, was anybody in the press stupid enough to suggest Derwin James was a dirty player? Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports scene in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. It's always midnight out here. I don't know why I call it the morning report. It's January 6, 2022. I am broadcasting once again from Ice Station Bravo in Anchorage. Miserable for every moment. And if I may, before we get to the sports talk, can I just get this out of my chest? Oh, you're from Southern California. LA is nothing but a cesspool of crime and filth. Really? At least it's not a cesspool of yellow snow. I'm sick of this place. I wish I never came. And oh, by the way, your internet is trash. Our internet is not two tin cans tied together by a string. We actually know what satellites are. But let's talk sports. If you like the content we put out, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and comment. Comment about how beautiful it is back home so I can hate myself even more. 10th ranked UCLA, they almost blew an 18-point lead to the Trojans in a rivalry game last night. That would have been painful. UCLA 60, USC 58. Jalen Clark rescued the Bruins. He led them with 15 points overall. He also hit a game-winning three-point shot. Meanwhile, for USC, they've lost two in a row. Reese Dixon-Waters scored 16 points to lead the Trojans. Norman Powell led the Clippers with 13 points, but Denver just smacked them around good, 122-91. Not a good look. And also a bad third period for Phoenix Copley. He allowed 3 goals in the third period. Boston pulled away from the LA Kings 5-2. Meanwhile, today, Atlanta is in town to play the Lakers, and the Clippers are playing on consecutive nights. They're up in Minnesota. The Clippers have lost 4 consecutive games. So, Sasha Kleshin announced his retirement from MLS yesterday. And you can kind of understand why. He's 37 years old. His playing time had diminished over the years. He's a midfielder with the LA Galaxy at the time of his retirement. And if the one thing the Galaxy have in just droves, it's quality in the midfield. Ricky Puig, Mark Delgado, Gaston Brugman. Kleshin, who was at one time one of the most clever midfielders in MLS, he just didn't have a role. And again, he's 37. I've seen this guy play, oddly enough, for 4 different teams in MLS in my travels. And I've done a lot of traveling. Started off when he was young over at Chivas USA. Now, if you remember anything about MLS, you remember that Chivas USA is the last failed MLS team. They folded. They were a second tenant in at what was then the Home Depot Center. They were at the first attempt at MLS's attempt to put 2 teams in LA. The second one obviously being LAFC. Kleshin left. He winds up playing with the New York Red Bulls. I wound up seeing him play over at Red Bull Arena when I was over in New York pitching a novel. Then worked for a while in Florida, and hey, damn, he's playing for Orlando. And then, of course, finally with my own favorite team, the LA Galaxy. The thing with Sasha Kleshin, he just always seemed like such a cool dude. I don't know of anybody who had a bad thing to say about the guy, and that matters. Now, if you remember last year, LA played over in Charlotte, the expansion team's first home game. And right at the end of the game, Kleshin runs into a player on the other team named Chris Hergart. That was interesting, because when Hergart was a kid, he was in a children's hospital fighting for his life. Sasha Kleshin came by to say hi. One of those, let's bring a bunch of local athletes by to talk up the local kids. Apparently, he made an impact. Hergart not only regained his health, but made it all the way to professional soccer. So they wind up meeting after the game. They swap jerseys. It was just a cool story overall. So Sasha Kljestan renounces his retirement, hangs up his boots. Hope the man has a good life. As for the Galaxy, they continue to reshape their roster. They had 2 transactions yesterday. They sent defender Nick Dupuis over to Nashville. Then they turn around and they add Memo Rodriguez, a midfielder from Houston. Now, Rodriguez might not start. Again, the LA Galaxy are loaded at midfield. You can say they have holes in the back line, holes at goaltender, whatever. Midfield, they are set. Ricky Puig, Delgado, Brugman, even Efrain Alvarez. So I don't necessarily know where Memo Rodriguez pitches in. Maybe he just slides into Sasha Kljestan's place. Chargers safety Derwin James defended himself to reporters after getting ejected in Week 16. He hit Colts wide receiver Ashton Dulin. It was a strike that sent both players to the concussion protocol. He said he's not a dirty player, he being James, and that he thought getting ejected from the game was a bit harsh. I got to be real with you. People who watch the channel on a regular basis know that I am not a Chargers homer. The Chargers are winning. I got zero problem with that. They're an LA team. I have yet to see anybody suggest that Derwin James is a dirty player. Sometimes these hits happen. And if any reporter did come up and say, "So James, how does it feel to be a total scumbag?" I would really hope that that guy gets a dirty, illegal hit from James. Derwin James has been nothing but a rock-solid defensive contributor. He's an elite safety. Sometimes a hit is just a hit. Football is a very physical, rough game. So if anybody called him that, I'm gonna have to side with Derwin on this one. By the way, he is expected to play in the regular season finale up in Denver. The Rams will finish an otherwise forgettable season over in Seattle on Sunday. Speaking of forgettable, linebacker Bobby Wagner said he felt that the Seahawks forgot and gave up on him. So he's looking forward to sending Seattle a little something when he returns on Sunday. You see, when he was cut, Wagner went to Twitter and let them know that he didn't like the way that he was cut from the team. Seattle coach Pete Carroll and general manager John Schneider both apologized. And you might be saying, wait a second, why would Wagner have a problem with this? It's because Wagner is one of their franchise's all-time players. You know how they say, oh, create a Mount Rushmore of your favorite team's best players? Wagner is on that Mount Rushmore if you know anything about the Seahawks. He's our all-time leader in tacklers. The defense was once known as the Legion of Boom. That was a defense that he captained. He won a Super Bowl, the only Super Bowl up in Seattle. He is synonymous with the Seahawks. So yeah, you don't just say in a roster transaction, we've decided to cut Bobby Wagner. You basically put rose petals on his path and you beg his forgiveness for cutting him in a salary cap move. That's what you do with players who mean that much to your franchise. Imagine the Kings back in the 1980s saying to Wayne Gretzky, yeah, we've just decided to trade Wayne Gretzky, and you don't even bother to, no. So yeah, he's looking forward to sending a little something back to the Seahawks on Sunday. Speaking of the Rams, I've never been much of a St. Louis Rams guy. I absolutely despise Georgia Frontiere for taking my favorite football team as a child and moving them to one of the nation's sleaziest cities, St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, I will say this, though. When she died, that left the door open for Stan Kroenke to buy the team and bring them back. And if you infer from that I'm glad she's gone, you can infer it, I suppose. But regarding the St. Louis Rams, Torrey Holt is a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Today is decision day for the Dodgers and Trevor Bauer. I've been going all over the interweb with what limited connection I have up here in this hellhole. I haven't found a single thing other than conjecture as to what the Dodgers are doing. We'll have to find out at some point today. Also for the Dodgers, Jake Reed clears waivers. He is sent immediately to AAA Oklahoma City. The Kings, by the way, have recalled defenseman Jacob Movier, but I also wanted to let you know a little something that I thought was interesting. Last night's Bruins game opened up the second half of the regular season, right? You may like the Kings, but do you trust them? Do you trust them? Because this is a team that is in second place in the Pacific Division, and yet they've allowed more goals than they've scored. So we're halfway through the season. Do you trust the LA Kings? Because when they lose big. Kind of like last night, frankly. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know what you think about USC, UCLA. If you were a Galaxy supporter and you have a question memory, let me know about it. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day, regardless of the lack of internet across an entire state, regardless of the fact that I've probably given myself pneumonia. I'm James. Once the cold meds clear, I'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.